In this video, we are going to talk about how to use the distance formula to calculate the distance between 2 points. First, let's derive the formula. So, looking at this diagram, we can see 2 points P and point Q. So, looking at this diagram, we can apply the cosine formula here. So, if we apply the cosine formula here, that's going to be r squared is equals to p squared plus q squared minus 2pq cos r, right? So this is p, right? This is q, and this is r. So if we were to rewrite that in terms of p and q, we're going to have pq is equals to pq square is equals to x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square minus 2 x2 minus x1 y2 minus y1 cos theta, right? So cos r is what? Is this angle here. R is this angle, so that's what? Cos theta, right? But now, if you notice, if this angle theta becomes 90, what happens? If theta is equals to 90 degrees, right? Cos 90 is equals to what? 0. So if cos 90 is 0, it means that the whole of this part will be equals to 0. And then the distance formula now becomes pq square is equals to, we have x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So you take the square root of both sides, we have pq is what? x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So that is what? Your distance formula, right? So you can also represent it as this. So from here, right, we could also write it as PQ is equals to root. You have x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square minus 2x2 minus x1 y2 minus y1 cos theta, right? So, but for the purpose of this lesson, we would go with this formula. Now, let's look at some examples. So, example 1 says, find the distance between the point P3, 2 and Q7, 6. 2, we have find the distance between the points P root 3, 0 and P 0 root 3. And 3, we have find the area of the circle with center C32 and point P75. Now let's see how we can use the distance formula to solve this problem. So, solution. So for the first one, we first write out the distance formula, which is what? Your PQ is equals to what? Root x2 minus x1 square plus what? y2 minus y1 square, right? So for the first one, right, our PQ, that's the distance between point P and point Q, will be what? What is x2? So our x2 is what? 7, right? So this is x2, 7. x2 is 7 minus x1 is 3 all square plus y2 is what? 6 minus y1 is what? 2 all square. So 7 minus 3 is what? We have 4 square plus 6 minus 2 is what? 4 square, right? So from here, we have 4 square is 16 plus 4 square is what? 16, right? So 16 plus 16 gives you what? 32, right? So you can still break down this 32. So 32 is simply what? We can write 32 as, let's say 16 times 2, right? So this becomes root 16 times root 2, right? Square root of 16 is 4. So this is what? 4 root 2, right? So now, for the second one, we have points P root 3, 0 and Q 0 root 3, right? So the same thing applies. Use the formula PQ is what? X2 minus X1 square plus Y2 minus Y1 square. So our PQ becomes what? What's our X2? X2 is what? 0. So we have 0 minus X1 square is what? Root 3. And Y2 is root 3 minus Y1 is 0 all square. So from here, we have 0 minus root 3, that's minus root 3 all square plus root 3 minus 0 is root 3 square. So from here, minus root 3 square is what? 3. And root 3 square is what? 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So we have what? Root 6 as our answer. So PQ is what? Root 6 units. So you just write unit here, right? So that's the distance between the point. So the distance is what? Root 6 units. Now, how about this other question, the last question, that says find the area of a circle with center C 3, 2 and point P 7, 5. Now, if I were to draw this on a Cartesian plane, right? Mark this out on a Cartesian plane. What do we have here? And then the center of the circle is what? 3, 2. So let's mark out point on this plane. Mark out point on the plane, right? Mark out point on the plane. So let's say what would the center be at 3 and 2, right? On the x-axis, mark out point 3. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So you trace it to where you have 2, right? So this is what? The center of the circle, C 3, 2. Now the point 7, 5. So you mark out 7 on the x-axis. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You trace it to where you have 5 on the y-axis. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's somewhere around here, right? So this is 0.7 and what? 5, right? So now, if I'm to draw out this circle, now this point is a point on the circumference of the circle, right? So if this is the center, distance from the center to the point on the circumference is called what? The radius. So we could complete this circle. It's a rough diagram. It will look something like this, right? It will look something like this. Now, we have to find what the area of the circle. So to find the area of the circle, we must first find what? The radius, because the area of a circle is given as A is equals to pi r square, right? So the area of a circle is what? Pi r square. That means you have to find what? The radius. And this radius is what? The distance between point C and point P. So now, applying the distance formula, we have CP, right, is equals to x2 is what? 7, right? X2 is 7. So we have 7 minus x1 is what? 3 all square plus y2 is 5 minus y1 is what? 2, right? So all square. Now, from here, we have 7 minus 3 is what? 4. You have 4 square plus 5 minus 2 is what? 3. So we have 3 square. So from here we have 4 square is what? 16. And 3 square is what? 9. And 16 plus 9 is 25. Right? And then the square root of 25 is what? 5. So we have 5 what? Units. That's CP. But this CP is also what? R. So R is what? 5. So from here, we can easily find the area of the circle, right? So just impute it in the formula. So A becomes what? Pi into what? R square. What is R? 5 square. So the area of the circle is what? Pi times what? 25. So the area of the circle becomes what? 25 pi unit square.